Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It is Thursday, January 12th, the second podcast of 2023 in what I am sure will be a much improved year over 2022.
Why would you fucking say that?
Why
would you do that?
I'll be honest with you. I said the exact same shit in January of 2022.
Yeah,
and the exact
you
same
did.
Shit of January
And 2021. And 2020.
And
listen, he's just trying to be more positive.
I am known. Look, I am not a man.
If John's anything, it's consistent about that.
It's the Nintendo insider strategy. If you just say it enough times, eventually it'll happen.
Right.
And you'll be proven correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I am a man known for my relentless positivity most of the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, shut the fuck.
And your relentless humility.
We are agreeing with you, John.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you, man.
I'm sure you are.
When are we
I
never
am actually
genuine?
trying to ramp the positivity up a little bit.
I will say, I don't know.
You
This
tone
is
down the defensiveness a bit.
This is completely unrelated to anything. But I notice you've mostly retired the Gungeon beanie, which used to be your iconic Aiden Pierce hat, basically.
It was my Aiden Pierce hat.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It as a. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you've been wearing that like kind of mustard brown one for a while.
That is pumpkin. Excuse you.
Pumpkin's actually a better way to describe it. Yes.
I prefer dried blood.
I still think we need to get you in like an SDGC purple.
Yes,
you guys want to know something funny?
That's the ultimate goal. What's that?
Yeah.
Jeff?
Christine was looking for a toque because she didn't really, or sorry, like beanie or whatever you call it.
I was gonna say for those who aren't
Jeff,
Canadian.
You lost
Jeff,
me.
we're
You
not,
lost me
we're
for a
not
second.
Canada. This is America, Jack.
A winter hat. So I gave her my Delson beanie from the infamous Second Son Collector's Edition, and she's just been wearing it nonstop, and she has no idea. And like eventually, someone like at the store or something is gonna like recognize.
Is anybody really going to recognize it?
Wow.
It's just like a red beanie.
It's so.
No,
Justin,
it's
are you
just-
saying
it's just-
Delson's beanie is not iconic?
I actually
Native American icon Delson. Voiced by Native American.
voiced by
Baker.
noted Native American Troy Baker.
My God.
No, we have so yes, I still have the Gungeon beanie. It actually has a place of honor in my collection.
Been retired to the rafters.
Here's the thing, Justin.
Like a number
It
23.
smells like
jersey.
it smells like a bald, sweaty head now. Like you can't get that smell.
You know
out
you
now.
can wash those, right?
No, I have, and it's just there. So
John, can I suggest something?
you may.
Lots of baking soda and vinegar, white vinegar.
OxyClean.
Or
I
even
use
a
that
little-
too,
you
but
can
baking
mix in
soda
a
and
little bit of
vinegar.
bleach if your washer supports it, and it won't.
I'm
discolor
sorry,
it.
I can't do OxyClean simply because like the guy with the beard who used to pitch that.
Billy Mays.
Billy Mays.
Put some
Billy
respect
Mays.
on Billy
What's
Mays.
his fucking name, bro? He died
Billy-
for our sins.
Billy
Our stains.
Mays, like ever since that audio of him leaked, smell like it and saying smells like my ass. Like I haven't been able to use OxyClean.
As
Like,
if you,
that-
John, that's just you. That's just like a comment you would make goofing off on set.
I don't know, man. If you tell me your cleaning product smells like your ass, then
We use
He
OxyClean, it
didn't
doesn't.
invent it.
No,
He
it
didn't
doesn't.
invent it.
Like
It really didn't have a smell, honestly.
Hi, Billy Mays here. Shit smells like ass. They say
Billy
like that.
Mays here with the power, cleaning power of my
tell you what, though.
asshole.
that
Billy Mays
motherfucker's.
here. I'm dead.
I'll tell you what, that motherfucker's beard was on point.
That's a good beard.
Like that dude
It's a
had
good
a
beard.
glorious fucking beard. Speaking of glorious, we have a great podcast tonight. So here's what's going down, right? So for the next 45 minutes, we're just going to talk about what we've been playing and just generally bullshit, right? We're going to bullshit our way through the next 45 minutes. At that point, Derek is going to run the video chat we did with Ben Starr, who is the voice of Clive Rossfield from Final Fantasy 16.
The main character.
He is the main character of the game. We had a really cool time talking with him this past Saturday.
he's the best.
He
Love
is
him.
great, and
If
not
you happen to
dude.
watch this, Ben, love you. You're great.
and not. I am excited for two reasons. One, so you guys can like watch us try to contain ourselves as we're talking to the lead voice actor of the next mainline Final Fantasy game, but also because beyond his skills as a voice actor, Ben is a genuinely good person. He's a good-hearted person, and I'm
Who
excited.
loves Final Fantasy?
He does.
Yeah.
He truly does.
There's a lot of
And
Final Fantasy geekery in that interview.
I am very excited for you.
You're going
guys
to watch my
get
beard suddenly grow, which is going to be distracting, but I promise
and
you, it's back in time.
I think most of us will still be in chat. So
Probably.
like yeah, I'll be here. So yeah, we'll still engage you in
I
chat.
gotta
But
keep the stream running, so
yeah,
you know.
and after this, of course, this weekend, that video chat with Ben will be available separate from this podcast on YouTube and podcast services. So we're gonna do that like at the 8:45 mark or the 9:45 mark, Derek, something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, cool. All right, so guys, I gotta tell you, I have been playing, and this will be the most relevant to Derek and Britt, and also maybe Jeff. Jeff, have you played all the way through Final Fantasy IV?
No. I've played the first 5 hours like 4 times, and at this point, I probably won't go back.
Fair
But yeah,
enough.
I played a little bit of it. It's like, it's the only one of the pre-PS1 Final Fantasies I've put any time into, and I like it. I like it a lot.
So I finished the story of the latest 6.3 patch that dropped this past week, God's Revel Lance Treble. And one, it's fantastic. Derek, you heard that version of the Battle with the Four Fiends when you're fighting Rubicante.
Yes.
So this is a continuation of the first like major storyline we've had since the end of Endwalker, since Endwalker's end. And for the first time in the history of Final Fantasy XIV, you're actually getting a mainline Final Fantasy villain as the main antagonist in the story. That's never happened. Like they've appeared in like, trials and stuff like that. But this is the first time that a main villain who is Golbez from Final Fantasy IV and the Four Fiends have actually featured as main storyline antagonists. And we've had some really cool, there's been so many really cool call outs to Final Fantasy IV. With the Four Fiends, you've now fought Scarmilione, Barbaricia, Canyazzo, and now Rubicante. And so only Golbez is left. So I'm not going to say how this particular patch ends, but what I will say is I've got a really good idea. And it's like spoilers for a 30-year-old game, but I've got a really good idea of where this is going in regards to how they're going to wrap this up. I think it's pretty clear. Derek, you'll perk up on this one. I think it's pretty clear we're going to the lunar subterrane, which is the final dungeon of Final Fantasy IV. And I think this is all building up toward not just a battle with Golbez, but the final boss of Final Fantasy IV, who was Zeramus. I think that's where this storyline is headed. The lunar subterrane is something that I have been asking for in Final Fantasy XIV for a long time. And all those Final Fantasy IV.
You've been talking about hoping and thinking that the story was going there for a while.
And it's pretty clear because there's a shot of the red moon, and so it's like, okay, it's pretty clear that we're going to this alternate moon, which is the red moon, which is where the Lunarians sleep in Final Fantasy IV. It's pretty clear that we're probably going to get the lunar subterrane in some fashion. I am extremely excited about it because again, I love 4, and this is something I have wanted for a very, very long time. Britt, did you ever finish Final Fantasy IV? Did you play Final Fantasy IV?
Nope.
You didn't? Okay. You guys need to. Yeah. See, people in chat giving Rubicante some love. You did play 4, Justin.
Yeah, I played 4 a long time ago. I mean, it's been a while, but I do like 4. I just haven't revisited it in quite a while.
I don't think a main storyline from 14 has ever leaned in so hard to one of the mainline games that came before it, like Final Fantasy, Endwalker going on has in Final Fantasy IV, which is really, really wild to see. Go ahead, Justin.
I think 4 is kind of a good one to pull from because it's very recognizable, but I don't think it's so iconic that it feels out of place for some of the stuff from it to end up in the mainline thing. It's very different than Sephiroth showing up and being a main antagonist or something.
Here's the thing, I would hate that. I would actually despise it if they were like, hey, Sephiroth is here and he's the main villain of Final Fantasy XIV for the next expansion. Yeah. I'm like, oh, come on. No.
It's different from that. I think it works because it doesn't have the same kind of level of attachment but like it is I really do dig all that. I do really dig like the art and vibe of 4, and I think that's cool that they're pulling it into
and
14.
the 4 vibes in 14 like are really strong now. Like, I mean, you've got actual characters from the game popping up, and locations and music. The music at Derek will attest to this. The music that they've arranged.
Music's
from
the
Final
only
Fantasy
bit
4,
that I really know jack shit about because I am not a Final Fantasy 14 person, but
that rendition of
That should
Battle of the
change.
Four Fiends.
Did you know
should
it's
change.
free up until level 60 with the Heavensward expansion?
The award-winning
Shit.
Heavensward
I
expansion.
have so many games I want to play though.
I should
Yeah,
don't
play
have
this,
hundreds
Britt.
of hours.
You've never told me about this, Britt. I should play it.
Now,
You should.
and I'll end on this. I was very excited about 6.3 because also Final Fantasy 6 got some major love in the Blackjack airship. And there's a Phantom Train minion now, but the Blackjack costs
Can you
4
suplex
million. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that, but the Blackjack airship costs 4 million fucking MGP, which is going to take a year to grind out. And the Phantom Train minion involves getting an ingredient that is almost impossible to get because it's one of those submarine things. And it just, I am so frustrated. Like 4 million MGP, and it's got like the standard mounted music. There's no like special music from Final Fantasy 6 like, you know, other mounts do. And I'm just like 4 million MGP. Like, come on. So I'm a little frustrated about that.
He's a little peeved.
I'm a little peeved about it because I was really, the Blackjack is something I've wanted in 14 for a long time. I'm
grinds his
big.
gears.
It does, CJ. It does grind my gears. It
Grinds my gears.
You don't really
it
grind
does.
my
It vexes
gears.
me. It does not tickle my fancy one bit.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Does
man.
it yuck your yums?
It
It's
absolutely
rustling your
yucks.
fucking jimmies, bro. Let's fucking go.
Dude, my jimmies are rustled as fuck right now.
Let's fucking
Like,
go, bro. It's shivering your timbers.
I want
Man.
that to be a new podcast segment. It's just wrestling jimmies, and we just talk about things that are like bothering us.
rustling
Not
jimmies.
about news,
I
just
just-
things in
no.
games that bug us.
That segment will end quickly because someone's gonna be like, all right, can one of you guys leave for a second while I talk about just unrelated things?
All right, Britt,
All right,
can you get off for just a second?
Britt- You know,
Oh wow! Nice job, Derek.
Britt, you didn't let me
What an
talk about
ass.
how I rustled my jimmies really quickly, all right? You didn't came back too soon.
I do want to say Roronado in chat said MG peeved, and I enjoy that.
I do like that. That's fine. I'll accept it. Britt, what are you playing this week?
Fortnite and Overwatch. That's pretty much what I've been doing. When I get tired of one, I switch to the other, and I kind of bounce back and forth, and it keeps that like gamer rage down, which I don't have. Obviously, I don't get mad at video games whatsoever.
Really,
And
Britt?
that's what I did. I beat my son in Mario Party. I finally won Mario Party. You
I'm
guys.
so
Taught
glad that
him.
sentence had a second part.
I finally won Mario Party.
Justin's like, teach me your secrets.
Wait, why is CJ
Incredible.
laughing? What'd I miss?
What
Because-
Jeff said?
What'd Jeff say?
What?
No, you started off. You said that's what I did. I beat my son, and I said I'm so glad that I had a second part to that sentence.
I'm just
saying-
imagining, like again, like we said, like we talked about in chat. I'm imagining Britt like just being really aggressive with the wind towards her son, and her son's living like, "What the hell's going?"
What game
And
did you
that's
play?
just all the-
Child
I
abuse.
just make him cry.
Make him cry.
No,
And then you go back, listen, that wasn't you. It's just, you know, these guys that I'm on a podcast with, they get in my head, and I needed this. I needed this win.
they're really mean to me, and I needed this, son. Thank you. Thank you for
Mario
not knowing
Party.
how to play the game. Really,
Brittany.
really gave an advantage to mom.
Brittany, what's up with these rumors about Peter Griffin coming to Fortnite?
Peter Griffin is apparently coming to Fortnite, and I think
What?
CJ is very elated about this.
Is
I
CJ's
CJ
gonna lose
activated?
his fucking shit.
Is he activated
Oh,
about
man.
this?
I'm 100%. You know, my jimmies aren't rustled about this news. If anything, you know, whatever the opposite of that statement is.
Gears not
Jimmies
ground.
your jimmies are smoothed out. Your jimmies are
100%. They're
smooth.
they're ironed out. They're
Yeah,
ironed
he's
out.
out.
Iron Jimmy's, that's right.
Uncured.
uncured,
Jimmy.
Uncured jimmies.
perfectly fermented jimmies.
That doesn't grind my gears at all. I would say it's pretty freaking sweet.
Is this a fact, or is this like speculate? Like, is somebody?
It's speculation.
Okay,
it's like data. It's some data mining stuff. They found some. What is it? Like it's some.
There's some shit that like indicates that it's probably Family Guy related. I don't know how.
So I don't know how it would work though, because again, like his hitbox would be like ridiculous because like all those character shapes are so odd, right? Compared
Is that
to
going to
like,
stop you from playing as Peter Griffin?
100% no. Fuck it.
Exactly
I'll die.
why.
I'll take the L. I'll take the L. Whatever.
I think they all have a standardized hitbox. It would just look really annoying.
I've got this image of those like a Fortnite match with 50 Peter Griffins just running around yelling. Like,
You mean me?
I would die. I would quit.
But,
You know, like
well,
if I
sounds like why I don't
lost
play Fortnite.
and somebody like did like the Peter Griffin shuffle on me, I would be so upset.
oh my god, can you imagine you get one-shotted by Peter Griffin? He does the fucking gritty on your fucking corpse. Incredible.
Can you imagine if extra is an emote?
I hope they had the whole crew just so I can be Joe.
Yo, Joe would be my main. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So anyway, I tweeted
Wow,
about this.
that
I
was
said
the
it
most
before.
abrupt fucking mood change I've ever.
I'm sorry, dude. I love Family Guy.
TJ's like, oh
Hey-
my god. Anyway,
Hey, Peter.
like,
hey Peter,
hey, Peter. Like,
this
you
is my
can't,
dojo.
you cannot replicate that Patrick Warburton voice.
Dude,
It's impossible.
But I tweeted about it. I've talked about it in I will stream this game on the official channel. I'll fucking buy the fucking Peter Griffin.
See, you kids are playing some Fortnite.
That's actually not bad. That's not bad, Derek. Like, with a little tweaking, that's not a bad Patrick Warburton. Very well done.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Britt, you and I we're gonna
Yeah.
go pro in Fortnite. We're gonna
Fortnite, Overwatch, which I finished the battle pass in Overwatch.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
Britt, would you say that your Overwatch skills, Fort Watch? Would you say that
John, you
No,
just
stop it.
aged
You're good.
yourself by like 20 years. You're
he
like,
didn't.
hello,
No, go
kids.
on, John.
You got your
Go on.
Fort Watch.
playing that Fort Watch?
John still says
did you-
Pokemon.
I went on the
Man.
Google. And
Are you
looked
playing that? Are you playing that fork knife
on the Nintendo?
on the-
On the
No, you want to know how I showed my age? I just got like I think either last year or the year before that Fortnite is called Fortnite because you build forts. And I think like the first battle
Wait,
pass character
Britt-
was the knight.
Britt, what did you think? Why did you think it was called that? I'm curious. Why? Because it said like you thought it would take you 2 weeks to play it, and that's why they called it Fortnite.
I don't know. I just thought it was a snazzy little name. You know, I thought it was fun.
You didn't know names had meaning.
Zero build is
Why
just
is-
knight.
Zero
Why is
build
it-
is just night.
Why is it called Fortnite?
just
Well,
explained it.
because originally you were building forts to protect against zombies at night.
Yeah, it was like a zombie defense game.
But then they're like, PUBG shit is tight, so they crunch the developers.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, then yeah.
foreshadowing the next 4 years or 5 years of Fortnite.
What's
and then,
funny about that whole situation is that, like, look, Epic Games absolutely just copied what PUBG had done. They were like, "Fuck it, we need
Just
our own."
fucking destroyed
and,
him.
yeah, and absolutely clobbered them.
Well, the
To be
the
fair,
funniest part about
PUBG
that
was
is
just the book battle royale.
Yeah.
So,
the funniest part about it is they actually flew PUBG's developers to Epic to like go over in depth the changes to the engine to properly support a battle royale, and then made Fortnite from that information.
That is absolutely incredible.
I'm much better at Overwatch than I am at Fortnite.
Britt, would you say that your skills at Overwatch are MLG level?
Oh, 100%.
Leon
100%.
says that.
I'm waiting to be signed up. I'm waiting.
I'm a
Britt, I
really
was going to
good-
say, when are we seeing you on the tournament circuit, Britt?
All the
you won't,
recruiters.
because fuck Blizzard until Bobby's out. But
go.
we should
In the
play together
meantime-
sometime, Britt. I play a mean Zen. Give him the
do
Tims.
you?
Yeah.
I've been doing Arisa lately. I'm having fun with her.
I only
Arisa
play a
and
soldier
Echo.
because he plays like a Call of Duty character.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, you play as Call of Duty? Wow,
Yeah,
Call
I
of Duty the
do.
character.
I do.
I remember I played Overwatch for a while, then realized I was fucking awful at it and dropped it. I was like,
You don't
this
seem like an FPS dude to me. Like you don't.
I'm not. I'm not.
You don't strike me as the FPS type.
John and I play Call
No.
of Duty every night. He's not great.
I'm not like, yeah. I mean, CJ carries my ass. We do fine. Like it's like I actually long ago I tried playing Rainbow Six Siege with Jeff and JT, and they're all like shouting commands to each other, and I'm just like, bro, what do I do? I got killed again. I'm crawling on the ground, Jeff. And Jeff is like, Jeff is such a gentle soul and a good friend. I could hear in his voice, he was like trying to keep it together. He's like, John, okay, just come to us. And I'm like, I died again, Jeff.
Jeff
there are
just gives you instructions.
There are a few games as rage-inducing as Siege. Like,
Oh, I love it though. It's a painful thing. It's a cycle where I think when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was like telling my friends, "Hey, I want to play Siege again. Let's get onto it." I downloaded it. We played a few rounds, deleted that shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm never touching this shit again.
Well, I got frustrated too. I got frustrated. Like
Jeff just
like,
gives you instructions on how to uninstall it. He's like, all right, John, what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click.
I'm just picturing
You're gonna find System 32. You're gonna delete that folder.
All right, here's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to your games.
You're gonna go to your program files x86 folder.
John, you're just gonna push the power button on your computer.
That's it.
That's what you do. All that,
Hang up
and
your
then
call.
take your computer outside and hit it with that sledgehammer that you always pose with.
You know what John should
Like-
play? Derek, you just reminded me. John should absolutely play Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh yeah,
I
he got
have.
nowhere in it.
Oh,
did you
did?
finish it?
No, I finished the whole thing on Switch when it came
Oh
out.
hell
on Switch.
yeah.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
That was a motherfucking experience.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, that would be a really fun, like, stream game to watch you play.
Next, John is gonna
That-
play just a straight up dating sim.
Fuck it, I'll stream a dating sim. I don't care.
I mean, at some point,
I'll stream whatever that
do want to
whatever the
stream
game was.
Hatful Boyfriend again because
I thought
that game was fun.
Thank you for saving me, Justin, because I thought it was like Hateful Boyfriend. So I almost said Hateful Boyfriend.
No, that's
No,
just the
no.
experience of being a high school girl
Right.
in America.
No, but I want to say, like, I distinctly remember when we were playing.
that's just any girl who has a boyfriend right now, probably. That's probably what you're experiencing, is a hateful boyfriend.
I have a lot of hate in my heart.
When we were
I
playing,
give CJ a pass.
when we were playing Rainbow Six Siege, Jeff was like, "John, don't worry, you're doing fine." I was like, "Don't you fucking patronize me, Jeff. I'm not doing fine, and you know I'm not doing fine."
Are you winning?
JT's
You know I'm not.
like, JT's like, "Yeah, you're not doing fine." All right, who wants?
That's
to go
what I've
next?
been playing.
That's what you've been playing.
I can go next.
Do you want to go next, Derek?
Sure.
Go next, Derek.
So, last week we talked about my journey through recent Call of Duty games.
Right.
And I had played Modern Warfare Reboot, and I had played Black Ops Cold War, which is truly rage-inducing. I finished Black Ops Cold War with hate in my heart, and I wondered why it was that I was doing this. Then I played Vanguard, and
Derek, I want to point out
Vanguard-
I haven't even played Vanguard.
here's the thing about Vanguard. Vanguard kind of rips. Vanguard's
Oh, yeah.
good. Vanguard's
Oh, yeah.
actually good. And it's so fucked to me that for all of the Call of Duty games, the only good ones in terms of campaign, the only ones I like, which means they're the good ones because I have good taste when it comes to shooter campaigns,
Yes.
are the ones nobody fucking talks about, right? It's Advanced Warfare, it's Infinite Warfare, and it's fucking Vanguard, which is great.
Advanced and Infinite Warfare are good.
Yeah, those are really good. And Vanguard's excellent. It's great. You have this kind of like vignette style as you like play as different members of the team and their backstories before you get to the like, back to the frame narrative of them being imprisoned by the Germans and being interrogated before you do the breakout at the end. Laura Bailey is Laura Bailey, but is a fucking excellent like Russian sniper, and all of her levels fucking rip. It's just good. It's fun. I remember reading the one fucking reviewer bitching about how they like overly wokeified World War II. And like, I think that's so telling on himself because now that I've played through it all, it's like, this isn't like, it's not, first off, it's not really putting like going too far out of its way. There's like a woman and a black dude. It's not that crazy. But like, also, it's really not trying to be realistic World War II. It's trying to be like World War II adventure fantasy, right? Like it's so much closer to like that Wolfenstein catharsis of like, yeah, everyone hates the fucking Nazis, so kill some fucking Nazis. Dominic Monaghan is a great little fucking needly, shitty Nazi like pencil pusher. It's great.
Dominic Monaghan? No shit.
Yeah.
I just want to cut in real quick because that reminded me that I love Blood Rain and I wish they'd make another Blood Rain game.
Yeah, why not? Well, fucking Uwe Boll ruined that for everybody, didn't he?
I don't know.
He did direct that movie. Yeah, that's right.
It was so bad.
Wait, what?
Do you not know about the Blood Rain movie?
You don't know about the Blood Rain?
No.
Yeah,
With-
it's fucking
with-
Uwe Boll, the dude who did like the awful
Every other
like
video game.
House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark. Like it's a miserable fucking movie.
By,
Oh,
by
and I actually.
by some weird coincidence, I just stumbled across the fact a few days ago that there was a remaster of Blood Rain 2 that released just last year. Did anybody know this existed?
No
Yeah, yeah.
way!
Blood Rain
Yep.
2 revamped. Apparently it came out like barely a year ago.
It's
I
apparently not
never-
very good too. So
Well,
I
Britt,
love Blood
Blood
Rain.
Rain
the
had
game.
that solid side scroller like 10 years ago.
hey,
That was
yeah.
really solid.
On
It was the
Xbox
way
Live,
forward
right?
game,
20,
wasn't it?
boo.
Britt,
That's like 20.
Britt, in the Discord chat, I'm dropping a picture of Ben Kingsley in the Blood Rain movie, and like you really need to see it to understand it. Like there he is. It's
Oh yeah.
that's my reaction whenever that was my reaction when I actually saw the movie.
Me when I go to the function and there's no Za.
Wig. Oh my god. That's so bad.
It's bad. It's
I
bad.
mean,
If you're not
it's a
familiar with Uwe Boll's filmography, like, oof.
He
That's
is
a new
most
level
known
of
for
hell.
playing the,
I've seen almost every single one of his movies.
Why would you do that?
Hold
Says
up,
the
rank
person
'em.
who played every
Where
cast
does
or every Call of Duty.
where does Postal fall on your ranking?
Well, George Bush and Osama bin Laden do dance through a field of flowers, so
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
the
give him
best
points for
political-
that.
The best political
Ooh.
commentary of our time.
Uwe Boll actually threatened to fight me on Twitter once,
He tries to fight everyone.
and then he blocked me.
That's
That's
not
his thing
new.
for a while.
Yeah, that's a he was a boxer, so he threatens everybody to fight.
He had
Yeah.
the dog in him.
He got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He's got that blood rain in him.
So so Call of Duty Vanguard, and then the other thing I've been playing is I found out this is not necessarily new, it's just new
Sorry.
to me. But I found out that some fans did a full-blown remake of StarCraft 1 within StarCraft 2, which is a big deal for me. I fucking love StarCraft. Like I grew
You
up
have
on
spoken,
StarCraft and
yeah.
Diablo. Those were huge games for me growing up. And like I like StarCraft 2, even though it's somewhat contentious among StarCraft fans and like Blizzard fans in general. But it's really cool because it's a free mod that you can download and map pack to recreate everything. It's made with a ton of love because it doesn't just remake all of the levels. It also creates like in-engine cutscenes to replace a lot of the FMVs.
That's really
there's
cool.
a lot of
I
great
can't
like
believe I haven't heard about this.
yeah, it's called StarCraft Mass Recall. There's a ton of like cosmetic updates that they've done to like where you have the option to use like StarCraft 2 models or like new models that are designed to look like StarCraft 1, but you can also get like cosmetic differences between different factions within the same group. So that like the Sons of Korhal will have slightly different looking buildings and units than the
Oh, that's
Confederacy. The UED will look slightly different. Like it's really fucking cool. And it's been, you can add like heroes in who would have been present at the time, but just weren't there in the original missions. You can turn on and off like the ability for the heroes to have like new abilities that like to make them more like StarCraft 2 heroes. Rather than just like the StarCraft 1 heroes where they were just like, here's a vulture bike, but it's slightly better. It's really cool, and I've been having a lot of fun. I'm only a couple missions into the first Terran campaign. And of course, again, I'm bad at RTS games, so I'm playing on easy because I'm bad at RTS games, and that hasn't changed any time in recent history. But I'm having a blast. It's great. StarCraft 1 was really something special. despite just being like a very obvious Warhammer 40K or like Warcraft in space. Like it's clearly inspired by Warhammer 40K in so many ways, but I really love what StarCraft did in terms of building its world and building its races. Excuse me, and building its aesthetic. And like many Blizzard things, which I know this is like a thing that we have to straddle because Blizzard as a company fucking sucks shit right now. And with hope that changes under Microsoft, but like no guarantees. But a lot of Blizzard's classic franchises really deserve to be multimedia, right? They deserve to be like comics, shows, movies, shit like that. There was so much going on, and this just it never happened. Good news is, if you want to play this, obviously the mod is free. StarCraft 1 is free if you just want to play StarCraft 1. And StarCraft 2 is free to play. So you can literally download StarCraft 2 free, download the mod free, and play all of StarCraft 1's story and not give a penny to Blizzard. So that's a pretty cool... That's why I feel really comfortable, like, really raving about this, is it's a free thing completely. So... And it's StarCraft. That's what I've been playing.
I'll go next.
I have never touched a StarCraft game. Jeff, go ahead.
You'd suck at it.
Oh, I know I would.
I've been playing more Elden Ring. So I'm actually on a regular schedule now. I'm streaming it every Thursday at 6 Eastern before our live show for a couple hours, and that's been really fun. I talked about it last time. It's just been I don't know if I'll actually beat the game because apparently it's like 200 hours long, and I'm sure I'll get skill gated at some point. But
I put about 100 in it,
okay.
I think. So
it took me 94.
Well,
I was gonna say,
I'm doing one stream a week, and I'm playing about an hour. So if it's 100 hours,
100
and
weeks,
remember,
bro.
that's 100 hours for people who are like solid at these games and played the shit out of the other Dark Souls games.
Okay, so 200 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Jeff, I finished at 94 hours, and I think that was like 30 hours faster than most of my friends that had played it.
So it's been fun. It's been really rewarding. I've got kind of a regular group of people that have been in the chat there and kind of helped me in the right direction, but not like really like telling me what to do.
Not like backseat driving.
Yeah, it's been a really great way to experience a From game that I was kind of I'd had my time with them and proven myself, and I was kind of done with that stuff by myself. So it's just a different way to experience it, and it's the first time I really streamed like an ongoing playthrough of a game, and it's really fun and really cool doing it week to week. So I'm hoping to keep up with it. And the only other thing I've really been playing a lot of is I grabbed Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on sale about a week ago. It was normal $90 on for $37. So it was like a crazy good deal. I was a little hesitant on it because I went back to 2016 a little bit ago, wasn't really feeling it, maybe just wasn't in the right mood, but I know they're a little heavier on the shooting aspect, which I'm just kind of met on, and there's some parts of the game that are very shooty, but overall it's still that really nice mix of platforming and exploration, and I'm just loving the game. It's just I would love if we had more, no disrespect to indie games, but more 3D platformers with this level of production values. It's really something to see the level of fidelity and detail and stuff like that in such almost old style of game. We don't get a lot of these games from the big studios anymore, right? A lot of them, they're pushing the big single player, this is a single player game, they're pushing the big heavy dramatic stories, or they're going the service games. It's like a double A game with triple A production values for the most part. But yeah, all that stuff aside, it's super charming. It's beautiful. It's just really chill and fun to play. The levels are mostly perfectly paced. I play they're an hour or two to finish. I play one level before work each day. But there is one thing that really rustles my jimmies, and I'll fucking tell you.
Oh shit!
Here we go.
Yes.
We got another Jimmy Jam.
More
with this
Jimmy's
one.
being rustled.
Who has to leave the room for this, Joe?
And so some games like a Metroidvania, you have the understanding that when you come against a wall and you see something on the other side of it and you spend 5 minutes, you're like, I can't get this yet, I'll be able to get this later. The way this game works is 80% of levels, I'm just going through them and I get all the collectibles. And there's been 2 levels where there's one collectible left, and I spent 2 fucking hours and they're these big open world levels too, and I spent 2 hours trying to figure out where it is, trying to look for it. And then eventually I cave and I look up a walkthrough and it's oh, randomly this one little collectible in the level is actually story gated and you can't access it till like the end of the game when this extra thing happens. And there's like, I just wasted so much fucking time. I hate that shit. But that aside, yeah, that's the other weird thing about the game. Like most of the game is relatively linear. It's like these classic Ratchet and Clank levels, and there's two that are like these big open worlds, and they're so fucking weird. They feel like half finished. They're really glitchy. Like there's a lot of places it feels like you're not really supposed to get to, but you can. And I got stuck in one and couldn't get off of it because it was like an island in the middle of water that you instantly die when you get into it. And I had to like reload a checkpoint. And they're just like really empty and unrunning to explore. And the rest of the game is fantastic, but it's just I don't understand what happened with these two levels, especially because Insomniac did such a great open world with Spider-Man games. Yeah, I don't know if it was like a result of like scope cut at the end of the development cycle and like they intended for more stuff to be there, but yeah, this is my only real disappointment. It's just like those ones are just feel so like underbaked, but the rest of the game is really really good and it seems like a good length. Like I feel like I'm pretty far along in it already, and I'm only 10 hours in. So yeah, it's a refreshing type of game that we don't get a lot of these days. So I've really been enjoying it.
That's awesome, dude. I know that last year like most of the major releases weren't games that you were particularly resonating with. So it's nice to see that it's nice to see that kind of change so early in 2023. I've also really been enjoying your Elden Ring streams. As much as a hard time I give you, I love watching it because I don't know. I find it and you vastly interesting and
No, we lost John.
and entertaining.
There
So excuse me. I know, no, it's fine. I didn't want to burp into the mic because that's gross, and I've got better manners than that. Okay, so we've got like eight more minutes. So
Who hasn't gone?
who hasn't gone? Justin
haven't gone.
and yeah, Justin.
And me.
Okay. Yeah. So
I mean, whatever.
I picked up a lot of stuff on sale, and I've kind of just been slowly working my way through a bunch of them. Let's see. Played a little bit of Sifu. That game's really cool. Really good combat system. One though that I've really been taken with was Signalis, which I played through.
Yeah.
All of. Absolutely phenomenal game. Really blew me away. Although that game has a Jimmy Rustler with how limited the inventory is, to the point where it almost wasn't fun to find the item I needed to progress because I just had to trek back to an item box because there's no way you could carry everything. But in general though, like the visual style is amazing and just the way it uses like these bursts of sound and like distorts the screen and stuff. It's like, really unnerving in a way that I actually have not felt in a survival horror game in a long time. And just the way the narrative is framed and the way it plays out is so cool. It's a really thoughtful, interesting survival horror game. It simultaneously succeeds in being like a throwback style PS1 game, but also having like something unique and really adding something of its own that feels fresh. Right. I really dug Signalis.
It feels like a PlayStation 1 game got made in 2022, and
it's made by two people.
Yeah, it's
two people.
It's wonderful. It's fucking wonderful. Wonderful game.
Yeah, it's such a cool game. Like if you're a survival horror fan, you need to check out Signalis.
I will.
I actually think it's straight up an essential survival horror game at this point. The more I think about it, the more I'm really taken with a lot of aspects of it. It's also not super long either, which is great.
I finished it like what, 8 hours, 7 hours. Like
it took me a little bit longer, but I always tend to take a little bit longer. But I think it took me like 12, so it wasn't like monstrously. I also have been working on Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is really cool.
Hell yeah!
I'm not very far into it yet because I keep getting really caught up at the Abbey, and I love that
There's
shit.
There's so much good shit to do at the Abbey.
It reminds me of like the Hold from Dragon Age Inquisition, Like basically one of my favorite things about like BioWare games is just chilling and talking with your crewmates.
There
like
is
between
good
missions and stuff.
like 20 years ago BioWare energy to this game.
Like, even in some of the jank it has and everything, like it really reminds me of like various Dragon Age stuff. Both in how it looks, how it feels, and like, but yeah, it's just I really like that it's focusing on like the, you know, cosmic and magical side of Marvel. And it goes deep into it too, which I wasn't surprising. Like it's very comic booky and it goes really into the stuff. And I'm just really enjoying just talking to people and, you know, doing the exploration stuff. And the actual like tactical combat stuff is great too. It's Firaxis. They know their shit when it comes to like turn-based strategy games. And that stuff's great. I'm really enjoying it in a way that I wasn't expecting. I'm not very far in it because I've been getting caught up in so much of like the side stuff and like, you know, the relationship building stuff. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm digging it.
I keep saying that like the thing about Midnight Suns is whenever I'm at the Abbey and I've got all these things to do, what I feel like I want most is to get to the mission, but I'm not willing to let myself do that until I get do all the cool Abbey stuff I can do.
Yeah, in the same way.
Then I'm in the mission, and I kind of can't wait to get back to the Abbey, right? And like,
but it's not so much in a bad way though.
Yeah, but because then I'm back to the Abbey after the mission, and then I'm like, fuck, I really want to get to that next mission, but I can't let myself skip all the Abbey stuff. It's this great loop of like one more cycle, kind of.
And it also, I think, kind of makes the game feel bigger than it might actually be, because it feels like, you know, you could be doing things in so many different ways. And it definitely has the XCOM roots of, hey, this game's designed to be replayed a bunch and you spec out your characters differently and go different routes.
Imagine how much bigger this game's going to be after all the expansion stuff drops.
Oh, yeah.
Like every XCOM game does.
Deadpool's coming really soon, isn't he?
I don't know what order they're coming in. I know that it's.
I know Deadpool's first, and he's
Deadpool,
sometime
Venom,
this month.
Morbius, and Storm, right?
Yeah. Which, aside from Storm, it just seems like a meme list of DLC characters, and I love it. Like we got Morbius in the season pass. Let's go!
Oh shit, dude! It's fucking Morbin time. Let's go, baby.
Which is funny because it actually makes sense that Morbius would
be
in
it's
this
Midnight
game,
Suns. Morbius. Would be there, but
I just think it's really cool that like a relatively obscure Marvel property like Midnight Suns got made, because like let's face it, right? Like I grew up reading Marvel. I knew the Midnight
Suns was never big. Like
most people didn't, and so this is really fucking cool. Oh, do I have a puppy coming in?
It's also super funny because like I remember before the game came out.
Puppy.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
Before Midnight Suns came out, everyone was complaining about like, why are like, you know, all of these Avengers in this game? It should just be about like magical characters. This feels like the Avengers are kind of taking over everything. And then like that's kind of a recurring subplot through the game, is that the actual Midnight Suns feel like the Avengers came in and just set up shop and took over. And they feel like that's really unfair to them. I just think that's really funny. They couldn't have planned for it to go that perfectly.
Yeah, no, it works really well. Plus, I love Blade. It's great seeing Blade in that game. I love the characterization and voice acting.
Nico Minoru. I love the Runaways. So Nico being there. Excellent version of Nico as well.
Yeah,
Magic.
Nico's great. The Emo Kids Club.
The Emo Kids Club. Magic is a great like deep dive. Not really deep dive these days, but like people don't read comics from within the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
It seems
also,
like
Magic hates me. Magic does not like me.
I think she's hard to really get a beat on, like how to become her friend. But yeah, it's good. Midnight Suns is good.
This is like the Super Dogs games cast tonight. Look at all these.
Also, just one more note about Midnight Suns. It's kind of hilarious what the pricing is like for that game, because I bought it on sale, and like I was trying to decide which version to buy, because like with the way that the percentage reduction worked, all of them were, you know, it was like $10 apart for the 3 versions, and So I was like, maybe I buy one of the lower end versions and just get the season pass later if I like it. And then I looked, the season pass alone is $50, and it was $66 for the game and the season pass.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
I'm
I
like,
fucked
okay,
it.
yeah, I'm just gonna get that version. Like, it was just, the pricing is really out of whack for that game. But
I didn't realize the season pass was $50 fucking dollars.
yeah, no, the game.
I already
if you
bought the game. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. The game is 70 and the season pass is 50, but on sale it was 66 for all of it. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
But we've got to kick off this interview soon, but I do want CJ to get his to get his time in. CJ, what have you been playing this week, bud?
I'll make it quick because nothing's changed from last week. I'm still like chipping away at Dragon Quest 11. I like it.
My man.
The game gets the game's gotten weirdly emotional in some bizarre ways. I what is it? I got to the main point of the game where, like, all right, the story's starting, right? You're collecting the main MacGuffins, and then that's it. You're on your way. But then I sidetracked to this really meaty piece of like story content that seems out of like nowhere. It doesn't seem to relate to anything, but I'm sure it'll come back later. A character dies and it fucking bummed me out. Because I went back and read a walkthrough on how to get to someplace. It was by like my choice was like the reason why that happened. It bummed me the fuck out for a while. But other than that, great game. Like, I genuinely love it. Again, I'm taking forever to play it. I'm not going to get through anything else like for a while. The other game I've been playing, because I'm planning out like the rest of 2023 with like my backlog. I got way back into Puyo Puyo Tetris 2.
Hell yeah.
I love Puyo Puyo.
That's the shit right there.
No, so back in 2020, I worked from home and I got a review code for that game, right? And I had to switch late. So I worked at like a call center job here at home. In between calls, I would play that game a lot, right? I don't have that job anymore, and I guess you guys can see, you guys can like kind of like do the math on why. Like, I wasn't called back to renew my contract. It was a seasonal thing. But man, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 fucking rules. When you're in the zone in that game, nothing matters. For the third year in a row, it's my game of the year at this point, I guess. I used to play, like, I played it specifically for like the Puyo Puyo part. But then I got wicked good at the fucking Tetris part, to the point where, like, right before the show and like during like the show, I got like an all clear and I wanted to like scream like hell yeah. But it rules. It's great. I fucking adore it. I wish there was like a port of like the original Tetris out on Switch, because everything else is like some weird variation. What we got, like Tetris Effect? No, what's the is that the new one? Like the
Yeah, that's the one that makes you cry. Yeah,
but I just like, can we get like a very simple, like, I'm surprised the NES Switch Online like doesn't have like Tetris, right? Like, I'm praying that if like Nintendo ever releases a Game Boy,
it's gotta be Tetris. It's gotta be
Tetris,
no way.
please, because I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Puzzle League too, and I'm like, it doesn't hit the same. Like, nothing is as, and I like Puyo Puyo Tetris version of Tetris, but like seeing Sonic come in and be like, yeah, Tetris, it's kind of grating on me. I'm like, just give me the regular, give me the regular game with the music.
You got to see the old Russian buildings in the background. Like,
that's all I want. I just want that. I really do, because there's no other way to play the original Tetris like legally on a modern console, right?
Unless you're like me and you have a cart of the original and you play it on your analog pocket.
Well, okay, so here's the fun thing.
Fucking weirdo.
I'm 25 years old, John. I'm 25 fucking years old. I didn't have a fucking Game Boy. You know why? No, you know why? Hold up. Someone pull up. When did the Game Boy come out? When did the Game Boy come out?
I don't want to look that up. I don't want to look
I think
that up.
1989.
Oh, really? You know what year I was born, John? 97. I don't know a fucking Game Boy. Get out of here, Grandpa. Anyway.
CJ, here's the thing. I was going to send you a Game Boy, but now I'm not.
Oh. Good news, Game Boy games emulate on fucking toasters, so...
CJ's like, God fucking damn it.
No, I'm not.
I can buy overpriced hardware to play these fucking failing carts on that
in pea green. Thank you.
Or I can
John,
download shit to my laptop.
In my headcanon, John literally just handed Vicky a box of the Game Boy and was like, "Can you send this to CJ?" No,
but here's the thing.
Put this in the sledgehammer pile.
Attitude, I ripped that shit out of her hands, and I was like, add this I was like, add this to the fucking.
He's not
add this-
worthy.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's
All
in the
right.
Sledgehammer, but it's with the copy of
I'm
Rainbow Six Siege.
I'm destroying this shit with that sledgehammer just to spite CJ.
And a
I'm
copy of Tetris.
I'm gonna send, and you know what? I'm gonna send CJ a video of me doing it too.
All right, that's it. That's all I've been playing. Get on with the interview.
All right, folks, we're gonna go on to this lovely interview we did with Ben Starr, the lead voice actor for Final Fantasy 16. But before we go, because we will not be there to sign off quite the same way live, just remember, kindness costs nothing. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the show. Mwah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to an SDGC interview. We are very excited about this because we have joining us today Ben Starr, who is the voice of Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy 16. Now, this is something that we've all been very excited about for some time. Anybody who knows us knows that we hate Final Fantasy games, and we never
Can't
play
stand
them.
them.
So really,
I definitely need a whiteboard behind me for how far into the podcast we can make it every episode without Final Fantasy coming up, so that I can dramatically wipe it clean every time.
So I should just mention Final Fantasy 6 now so we get it out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
All
I mean,
right,
I'm the
done.
only one wearing a shirt repping.
Okay,
I only
I-
just noticed that.
I thought you were going to say I'm the
Good
only
pick,
one wearing
Finn.
a shirt, and I was like, that is
The ball kind
verifiably
of
not
takes
true.
away from the
Hold on.
rest of everything else.
There we go. Yeah. Anyway, let's focus on Ben
Let's go-
Starr.
Ben, how are you, man?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you.
Um,
Like this is a great honor for us.
great.
And I know that you must be busy. So taking time out to kind of hang out with the little people is just much appreciated. Thank you so much for this.
Well, again, it's been really lovely that people want to reach out and talk to me. I've kind of been in secret, not being able to talk to anyone about this for such a long time. And considering I'm such a fan of the series, it's a very surreal thing to just kind of sit hiding in and just watching people on the internet talk about it and speculate and stuff. And I kind of want to engage with the community. So when opportunities like this come up, I'm like, yeah, it's a cool thing to do. So thank you for having me.
So
Yeah.
like it must have been, and I'll just go ahead and say it must have been so difficult, doing all the voice work for Clive. I don't know how long it took you. Obviously, probably a long time, and just like being under a gag order, essentially, right? Like you just can't talk about it, and I can't imagine how wrenching that must have been.
Yeah, it was quite kind of scary. Actually, I would say that when I got the part, I didn't know what I was auditioning for when I went up for it. And then when I got the offer through, I saw some kind of keywords in the description and I went, is this Final Fantasy 16? And I couldn't really believe it at the time. And I was both elated and just so disappointed because I found out exactly what was going to happen in the next Final Fantasy game. And it was that. And honestly, for the first few months of recording, I kept thinking, oh, they're just going to give this to someone else. They're just going to give this part to someone else. I'm not very good. I can't believe. I felt like a complete imposter. And I just thought the worst thing's going to happen is I'm going to know exactly what's happened in Final Fantasy 16. And they're going to fire me as well. And so I just it was this like whirlwind of emotions of like that's what's going to happen to you, Ben. You don't deserve this. This is ridiculous, because I just felt like a competition winner, like someone had the weird thing of me just being such a huge fan for so many years, and then out of nowhere just being told, oh, by the way, you're the lead in the new one. That's a very strange thing that I still haven't really got my head around.
So what you're saying is you went from a Ben imposter to a Ben Starr.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Wow, Finn, wow, that was.
He can't be feeling too bad. He's
Wait,
back
hold
on the
on.
punch train already.
I actually had another one. I was like, so how does it feel to have the echo grass so you can finally speak again about, I was gonna Final Fantasy it
That's
up
not
a bit,
good, Finn.
but
I love you.
hey,
That's not good.
hey,
It's not good. It's not
hey,
great.
they can't all be winners, okay?
It's not great. Well, I actually, I've got a let's kick this off for real. Like, Ben, obviously this is a huge role for you, but I'm curious as to how you got your start in voice acting. Like where did this all begin for you?
Yeah, what is
So-
your Final Fantasy origins?
Thank you.
Finn.
These are really good. Just keep them coming, Finn. I voice acting. I people ask me, have asked me, like, how do you get into it? I genuinely don't know, and that is a really weird thing to say because I didn't start as a voice actor. I trained as a stage actor at a place called Lambda in London. And I always thought I was going to go on the stage, just dreams of doing Shakespeare and touring the world with the RSC. That's kind of what I expected my career to be or hoped my career would be. And then I ended up just not doing that. I ended up doing lots of like fun television stuff. And I kind of spent years not acting, because when you graduate, they just kind of, you spend 2-3 years into a drama school where it's just so... your entire day is planned out for you, and then they just spit you out into the world and they go, here is unemployment until you find it. And it's a really terrifying thing. And you spend so much time not acting. And there are obviously the people that go on and are really, really successful. But I spent 3 years, doing bar work, catering, all of that stuff. And then I managed to land a TV role on a show. And then that led to another one and another one and another one. And it meant that I didn't have to do side work. And then at the same time, there was this opportunity just to kind of like go up for some video games. And I've done a couple, but I hadn't really done many. And I just kept auditioning, and every now and again I would do a voice here or there. It was a nice kind of like side hustle. And then this happened, and they weren't auditioning actually voice actors for it. They were auditioning actors in general. It wasn't kind of like a specialist audition. It was just, they really wanted to kind of get that pedigree in. Not saying that voice actors aren't all fantastic, but they kind of really cast the net wider. And I think that's really how it happened for me. And kind of here I am. And, I love video games. I've spent so much of my life voicing them when I'm playing them, just kind of impersonating.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all do it. And that is just it's been a really, really fun thing. But yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Awesome.
Now, we also know, to our eternal delight, that you are in fact a diehard Final Fantasy fan yourself. So much like what is your origin of your voice acting career and just your acting career in general, what is your origin in gaming in Final Fantasy? Like, how did you get stumbled into that?
So I was born in 1988. And so if that kind of charts,
so old,
but that charts where I would enter the series, right?
Yeah.
So I came into it around the first one I played was 8, and then it was
I'm 89,
9.
so I get you.
Yeah, it's like 8, 9, then 7, and then I played 6, and then like around that PlayStation era where they were re-releasing the old Nintendo games on PlayStation. So I've got, in the UK, they had something called Final Fantasy Origins and Final Fantasy Anthology.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I had those, and I played those on PlayStation. And there was, I think in the UK, 6 came with a demo for 10 as well. So when they re-released
combo.
I think that happened. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to go, that's completely incorrect, Ben, you're lying. But
Gamers would never. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
I would imagine no one's going to correct me on that.
I'm DMing you right now.
Good thing
Very
we're not
angrily.
live, so the chat may be going on the side as people watch this, but they can't actually talk to us.
Yes. Thank you so much. I was correct. Wow.
Take that, chat.
Yeah, I got him. Sorry. So my story started on the PlayStation 1, and it just continued. I think Final Fantasy was my way into video games, really. I was so fortunate to get into the series when I did at that point, because I'd never played anything like it. And for me, video games at that point, you could probably complete a game in 5-6 hours. They were quite simple at that point. It was, the game I played before Final Fantasy VIII was like the Tomorrow Never Dies game, and like maybe the opening level of Siphon Filter and Maria Sharapova's Smash Court Tennis. Like that was.
Hey, that's a Stone Cold classic.
It is a classic. Honestly, go back. That holds up. That is a true successor to Pong. But it was 8, and the fact that it came on multiple discs, the fact that it was as long as a novel. I mean, as a 10-year-old, I spent 111 hours playing Final Fantasy VIII. Like that was
Well,
unheard
so
of.
it sounds like you did everything. You went down and fought, a mega weapon, like at the
Yes.
very bottom. I can't remember what the place is called, but what the hell's the name of
Water
that?
research facility.
You got it. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. See,
So-
Ben's legit.
One could say that Final
Oh,
Fantasy
no.
VIII was at a
No.
critical junction in your
Oh
life.
my God!
Correct.
Shut up, Finn.
Mhm.
I will say
Good
it was
God.
it was tremendously endearing hearing from Alex Donaldson over at RPG Site. I suppose you did an interview with them, and hearing that you were such a Final Fantasy fan that like you were in the weeds and had opinions on like FF8's like leveling mechanics, and I was like, when you've got somebody who is that in the weeds, that's a real fan, and that's you
Derek's
don't
got
have to
opinions
be
all day about that.
I've got
system.
opinions all day about it. I love FF8, even if it is a mixed bag. But you don't necessarily have to be a fan to be an incredible actor in something. I don't believe in gatekeeping the series that way, but like it is also really cool to see people who are huge fans and have that history with the franchise get not just roles, but leading roles in these kinds of games. I just think that's incredible and very endearing to me.
I think that it's clearly a series that has an incredible diehard fandom. People who've grown up with the series who they identify with so many of the amazing characters that have appeared in this amazing series. And the fact is that I feel fortunate enough to now engage with the community in a different way than I would have done before. Like I remember going to maybe like 10 years ago or something, like an IGN at the time, they released tickets in the UK to go and like play Lightning Returns early.
Oh, I remember that.
Like,
I remember that.
and I was like, I'm gonna go. And I went with my friend, queuing up with all of us just big Final Fantasy nerds and just like going along and playing this game. And the fact that I'm here now on the other end in like seeing how the sausage is made, it's really fun, and I can't wait to hang out with more people that love the series in the way that I do. And my job basically becomes my hobby, and that's been amazing.
Ben, I completely understand where you're coming from. When I was a teenager, I was about 14 years old when Final Fantasy VI first came out, and without getting into too much of the dark stuff, like that game saved my life. I had kind of a rough childhood growing up, and that game literally probably saved me. And so that began like basically a lifelong love of Final Fantasy, just like Square in general. And so as a kid, I never imagined that I would one day be a sponsored content creator for Square, and it blows my mind. And I can imagine that you must feel the same way. Like thinking about that 10-year-old playing Final Fantasy VIII, like who you could never have guessed, like one day I'm going to be actually involved in creating this. Like that just must be a complete like doesn't that just blow your mind? Yes, all the time, and it doesn't make sense. I'm having an out of body experience right now. I'm not me. It's genuinely really weird because I used to name all of the characters after myself. So
yes.
How
could you not?
Yeah.
I never do that. I never did that.
Ben, do you ever go back to like old saves and be like, wow, look who my friends were at the time, like who you named, like, and you always knew who your crush was because that's what you named, like every time.
Why would you target me like this, Finn?
Finn, I've got you. I've got it too. Claire Davies at the time. I named Renault as Claire, and but I didn't name them. This is awful. But here you go. I didn't name them me. I for whatever reason, I named Squall Starry, as in my surname with a Y on the end, and I just thought that's what I'm going to do. His name's Starry, and so then Final Fantasy IX, he was Starry with an I. And then Final Fantasy VII, he was, this is really good, clever Ben, Starry 2. And then Tidus was Stazzy. I don't know why, but he was.
Well, they can't all cross over if they have the exact same name. So
go ahead, Finn. No, please.
No, I had literally nothing of substance.
Okay. Well, what else is new? So I'm kidding, Finn. I love
removing you from the call.
I love you. No, I actually had an idea. Like, I feel like there's some. I was talking about this on Twitter the other day, but I feel like there's some Final Fantasy VIII merchandise that is just a gold mine waiting to be created, and it's a handheld mirror that says "You're the best looking person here." But when you look in the mirror, you're just a mass of jumbled up pixels. It just completely pixelizes and messes up your face. And I feel like Square, you're sitting on a gold mine. This is an oil well that has yet to be tapped. Contact me. I've got all kinds of merchandise ideas. This is good stuff.
Anyone from Square Enix listening right now, we've got loads of ideas here, guys.
Please.
This is gold mine right now.
Please.
That little official music box that plays Eyes on Me though is definitely like I'm gonna break and get that for sure. So
Right. No, I wanted to jump in and since we now know Ben's starting point, to give him context, I thought it'd be cool if all of us just kind of chime in with what our first Final Fantasy was. So I want to, like, Britt, where'd you jump in?
So I watched my brother play the demo of 7. And that was kind of like, he was like, oh, Final Fantasy is so cool. And I don't remember how old I was young at the time, but, you know, I was just like, I don't get why this is such a big deal. Like, there's 7 of them. What could you possibly make over and over again? That's cool. And then, you know, that was my intro to video games, was watching my brother play video games. So he would love to hear me gloat about this right now. He would just eat it up. But then I got Final Fantasy IX for Christmas one time, and I just fell in love. Before that, I had played Chrono Cross, and so that was like my first deep dive into RPGs. And then my brother was like, well, if you like this, they got a new Final Fantasy coming out. So I played Final Fantasy IX, and it was the cutest, loveliest little game, and it just hooked me from there. And every single time I've played Final Fantasy ever since they released.
Don't you think that like Final Fantasy IX, I think is the most, in inverted commas, magical?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It just has this innocence and this incredible. It just hits you like a freight train when it hits you like a freight. But like there is just something so whimsical about it. Even the fact the opening music, I just go back to and listen to it every now and again.
Exactly.
Was it like a pipe or a flute that they play?
Yeah, it's like a flute. Yeah.
there's a sort of beautiful, painful nostalgia to it in a lot of ways.
I actually I refer to Final Fantasy IX as the Pixar movie of Final Fantasy games.
I was just about to say, like, Pixar. If Pixar makes it,
like
it's so cute,
it's bright and cute and whimsical, but also like it's really sad,
really
at the
emotionally
same time.
mature, and really like I learned things as a youngin' playing that game. So
yeah,
like VV on the inside.
Like learning the truth about the Black Mage Village gave me the same feeling as I had at the beginning of Finding Nemo. Like I was like, oh man, I was like, I wasn't prepared for this. Like I wasn't ready. You gotta warn me.
It's funny because it's one of those games that a lot of people don't play because they're like, oh, it's so childish. It looks like they look like kids. And I'm like, well,
Your loss.
Yeah.
Well, I did a tweet the other day, which was just like me loving the Alexander of Alexandria fight. And I tweeted it. And I think, because all these rumors about Final Fantasy IX were coming out and people are like, 9 remake confirmed.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I just like 9, guys.
Yeah.
See, Ben, that's the curse.
Yeah, this is going to follow you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You can never say anything about Final Fantasy without people going into spec mode.
If you were to tweet tomorrow, like, man, I really love Final Fantasy Tactics, people are going to be like, oh my God, it was on the NVIDIA leak. I told you. Like,
no, if you really want to burn it all down, you should just tweet, hey, I've been really enjoying Super Smash Brothers lately, and then end with like a winky face emoji, and just
listen. I think Clive for
Sakurai.
Smash. Let's make it Clive for Smash right now. He's done. He's absolutely done.
I think that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Wait, no, even better. Even better, because it's a PlayStation 5 game. I really think there should be a PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2. Clive would be perfect for it, and then just walk away.
For a month,
it's
right?
just starting a fire at Playstation HQ.
That would. Can you, like, if you did that? First of all, I'm going to recommend you don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Finn is giving you terrible advice. Not that you take it, but please, I have to make sure. Don't absolutely.
The problem with
do
Finn
not do
having
that.
experience in gaming PR is that Finn knows exactly how to cause the most trouble possible.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So Derek, segueing right back into you, what was your first Final Fantasy game?
So, actually, like, wildly, my first Final Fantasy was the original. I played not well, the very first on the NES. My dad had an NES. I was born in 91. So, you know, it was obviously well after that point that I got to play it. But I played it. I liked it. I didn't totally vibe with it just because I was young and it wasn't my first RPG. Like, I had played Pokemon. I had played Dragon Quest Monsters. So I was familiar with the concept. But Final Fantasy 1's rough to go back to, especially if you're not experienced with those sort of games. But later, I think in like 2000-ish, we would get a PlayStation 1 and we got a couple games with it. And Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 9, we got both of those. And I played 8 before I played 9, just because it was like, these people look more normal and cool. And, you know, I was 9. I didn't know what I was doing. But like deeply, deeply loved Final Fantasy 8. And then to finish 8 and move on to 9, like that 1-2 punch, that sealed it for me. I was a Final Fantasy fan for life. So,
John,
did you ever do this thing where with friends you would play each other? So I had like because you know you're young and whatever, you
Right.
have friends who were also playing alongside of you. There were sections of Final Fantasy 8 and 9 and 10 where we'd go around to, like, if I knew something was coming up, I'd go around to my friend's house and we'd play like different sections and like help each other out with it.
Yes.
Did you ever do
a
that?
couple times.
Isn't 9 like a 2-player as well? You can play
Yes,
9.
and sometimes
can,
I would plug and I would let my little brother control like Vivian Steiner. Yeah, so
It's so cool.
it's not a great way to do multiplayer, but you know, it's a
Yeah,
cool
There's also
idea.
there's that iconic scene, I think it's in Jurassic Park, The Lost World, where they're playing 2-player Final Fantasy
Final
8.
Fantasy 8, yeah.
They're in that, which I really, really love. They're like, oh my god, I'm gonna get you, and it's like they're just fighting the big dinosaur in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's got that same energy about from I can't remember the show, but he's like, nobody at school believes I beat Sub-Zero. And the dad's like, well, that's impossible. Nobody beats Sub-Zero. It's like it's just like, man, what a but no, Finn, answer your question. My first Final Fantasy was the first one on NES, but I didn't actually realize what this medium could be until I played Final Fantasy VI. You know, because and I was already big into video games at that point, but Final Fantasy VI was kind of the game where, if you think about it, up to that point, it had I considered to be the darkest, most mature storyline in the medium up to that point. I mean, with Final Fantasy VI, you dealt with murder, genocide, teen pregnancy, depression, and suicide. And you know, for something that was 16-bit and pixelated, like that was unheard of. And so that was the game that really showed me the power or the potential power of this medium. And to kind of look back through the years and see how, like, you can see the DNA of Final Fantasy VI in so many RPGs today. And I never could have imagined the legacy that game would have, not just for me, but for the medium in general. And so, like, as far as my gaming tastes are concerned, like Final Fantasy, like the first one I played was the one on NES, but Final Fantasy VI was the most formative game for me in regards to what I like to play, if that makes any sense.
Do you all think that it's the one that we talked that's the most formative is what you would then consider to be your favorite? So, Britt, would you be like, 9 is my favorite?
Oh,
one?
yeah, 9 is my favorite, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because, like, I think if you ask me to say like my favorites, it's like I 6, 9, 12, maybe 5. I just love 5's job system. And like 8 is obvious. I would say really my first real Final Fantasy, because I just didn't spend that much time with 1. But I hesitate to call 8 my favorite. But at the same time, like I will stand no 8 disrespect, because just because there's some issues with the junction and draw system doesn't mean that it doesn't have incredible characters, incredible music, incredible story beats. You know. I will always stand for the fact that 8 has probably the most realistic teenage cast of any RPG.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and that's just why people hate it, is because they're teenagers, but like they're teenagers. That's the point. You know, teenagers are kind of emotionally, you know, still figuring things out in the world.
You know what?
So,
I think Ben has a very good point, because my answer is I'm actually just a carbon copy of John, which is weird because as the youngest member of SDGC, proudly representing Gen Z,
you are not
born in 1984. the youngest 1984 person around. My first game was Final Fantasy 1, and as you mentioned before, I played it with a friend. I didn't have Final Fantasy as a kid, but my best friend in grade school did, and so I would spend every weekend at his house and we would play. We had the Nintendo Power guidebook, and we were both just in first grade, so we were like 6 or 7, and we spent months beating this game and just loving it. And then we went to Dragon Warrior 4 because it wasn't Dragon Quest yet. But and then I never played another Final Fantasy. I missed 4 or 2, and it wasn't until Super Nintendo that I played Final Fantasy 3/6 that I became absolutely obsessed. And it is still my favorite Final Fantasy and still my favorite game. 6 was the formative game for me and went from something I enjoyed playing when I was 7 to my favorite genre of all time. So same trajectory basically as John. So cool.
It's funny. It's like all those memes where it's like you play something and you're like, well, this is going to be my entire personality for the rest of my life.
This is me. So Ben, to get back to you and just the topic at hand. So Final Fantasy 16, Clive, it's finally coming out. Like, how does it feel knowing that you've been there since the beginning, like seeing the public reaction, seeing people's takes and excitement grow with each successive like trailer and announcement, and now we're like on the cusp of finally playing it. Like, as the person and as the star, like, how did that feel for you?
Call me biased, but I think in hindsight, how they've sold 16 is almost been pitch perfect in the distance between the trailers and that there was that, when the Game Awards trailer happened, I stayed up and watched it because it was like 4 a.m. here in the UK, and I knew it was going to go out, but I didn't know it was going to be right at the end. So there was me downing margaritas.
You had the same Game Awards experience as the rest of us.
Yeah, I did.
When will this fucker end?
It was a long one, but I did enjoy it. I was like, oh, there's some really fun. I mean, Hades too. Come on, excited.
Right.
Less Christopher Judge for extending that out.
I thought. So a friend of mine, Charlotte McBurney, was nominated for A Plague Tale, and so we've got like a fun little voice actors WhatsApp group with lots of like people on it, and everyone was going, go Charlie, go Charlie. And so she was on screen, then there was Al Pacino, and then there was Christopher Judge, and then it was like still going, and it was just the most anarchic thing I'd ever seen.
I forgot about Al Pacino.
For a bit, we all dissociated. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was an out-of-body experience as I was watching it, because I was going I was so nervous that the Revenge trailer was going to happen. So I'm already anxious, and then it's Al Pacino. What? And then Christopher Judge wins. That's fine. We all knew that was going to happen. And then wait, it's 8 minutes and it's still going on, and I didn't know what to do. My
nobody did. Everybody was like, "Is this happening right now?"
Al Pacino didn't know. He was just standing off to the side the whole time, like
Pacino.
I've got to say, testament to the qualities of Chris Judge and the respect that everyone has for him as an actor and a person and a personality, that like they let him do it, because at the end of the day, what that man has done for this medium and what he's done for performance, just what an absolute dude. So yeah. Give him 20 minutes, it's fine. I'll let him talk.
Also, at least there was a bunch of time dedicated to someone that actually was part of a video game for once. So
yeah, true. Well, but I've obviously like taken us off on a little tangent, but yes, I think leading up
that's
to
what we do.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to feel like, Ben's just taking us off on a tangent.
Oh no, that's the entire
way.
You Christopher Judged us, and I don't.
Got him. So yes, I think they've really done an amazing job of getting the hype up for this game, because it's kind of snuck up on a lot of people, I think, because where it's appeared at certain PlayStation events where there are also other exciting announcements, and then suddenly you get these people watching them. This looks really good. Oh my god! And I think the beats and how they've eked out some of these story moments, it's really interesting, because you see I sit there and watch everyone hypothesizing about it and seeing how wrong people are. But it's really, it's been really interesting, especially when it got to when they shadow dropped the Ambition trailer. which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, that was so hype, man. Oh my god, when they start naming off all the summons as part of the song at the end. Oh, that got me pumped up.
It's just I think each trailer represents something different, and yet doesn't give away what the story is at all. And
That I think is one of my favorite things that you don't get very often in big story-based games, is that I don't think any of these trailers are giving away anything major.
I feel like I know
plotline-wise.
next to nothing. And I couldn't be more excited about that fact.
I'm going to give you full credit for that, Ben.
Thank you. I listen. They came to me and they said, "Ben, how do we do this?" And I said, "Let's just sit down. It's going to be 4 trailers. It's going to be we're going to spread them out." What I didn't really notice, because I'm in the game all the time, and I didn't realize how little people knew about Clive because of how actually he wasn't really represented. He's eked in, and we get this real sense of like they're trying to build the world up and show you how big this world is and the epic journey that you're going to go on. And it's been really interesting that by the time that we got to the Revenge trailer, people were going, "Oh my god, it's actually nice to hear Clive or see what Clive's more of about." But now, obviously, I know everything about him, so I'm just going, "Why wouldn't you know that?" But it's great that actually now in this most recent trailer, which is a lot more about Clive and what his wants are or needs are, it's been interesting to see, and I think I'm really glad that you don't know what's going to happen, because it's a.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. Please, no. I didn't mean to cut you off. You would cut off on me for a minute. I thought you were done. My bad.
No, it's fine. I think it's such a journey. I think when I said, "Oh, I'm playing Clive," I said, Yoshi P said this is a roller coaster, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that. So when you got the role, like, for one, Final Fantasy, love it. Like, 2, when you found out you were going to be working with Yoshi P, like one of the most beloved creators in gaming industry, like how did you learn about that? And did you ever get like some alone time with him, like one-on-one time, or how did that process work, if I can ask?
Yeah, you can ask. I would say they would probably not let me talk about it, but I will say that my answer is that I went in, I didn't know who I was going to be working with at the time, because everything is just so NDA. Like, I had to sign so many things to say I'm not going to talk about this. And because of all the restraints of everything of recording, that recording shifted all the time, and like how we were recording the whole thing. But my main point of contact through the whole thing was Michael Christopher Koji Fox, and Koji was my man the whole time. He was the guy who would be that we have like check-ins every now and again and just like nerd out about games. He's the one, when we were recording it, he was like, "Oh, it's Disco Elysium, we've got to play Disco Elysium." So like we just nerd about Elden Ring and just like talked about all the games we were playing all the time to kind of like take a lot of the heat off, because it is a lot of pressure.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
quite intense. But he was so good and was kind of my go-between with Square and everything. So I'd say that's the person who at Square anyway was like my man, and he was the guy who really was like, "Come under my wing, Ben. You will be absolutely fine." And do that. But
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's been so lovely, and I played A Realm Reborn when it first came out, and I haven't played Heavensward yet, so I have a feeling I might start again, and I might like build like Clive in the game. And
That would be legit. That would be legit. Ultro server, if you're not on there already, you
Okay.
Obviously Ultro server. But also, speaking of building up Clive, I've got to ask, Clive Rossfield cosplay, like is it happening, and when is it happening?
I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's 100% happening. As soon as I saw a picture of him, I was just like, yeah, I'm cosplaying as this guy.
Yeah, you could absolutely pull that off. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know when. If there are any amazing cosplay makers out there, just get in touch. Let's make it happen. But
I know people. Really I can get you in contact. Let me know if you actually want it to happen.
I genuinely wanted to happen. It wasn't just me kind of like baiting people, being like,
I have lots of friends that are professional cosplay, like crafts people. So I don't know. So I have a question that is not related to Final Fantasy 16, related to acting, but more just you specifically and the region you come from. This is more just a fun one. One of my favorite trends in Hollywood is that they increasingly cast British people in American roles because all British people seem to have uncanny American accents. Does Ben Starr have an American accent?
He does.
Hit me with something.
I'm not going to hit you with anything because I want to kind of tease you out, but I can do such a great American accent. No, I would say that actually when I first started in this industry, I pretty much principally played American characters. My first ever play out of drama school was a play called Yellowface, which is a brilliant play by David Henry Hwang, which is about basically racism and about the idea of yellowface, and it's a really amazing play in response to kind of this race row that happened over Miss Saigon. And I played an American person in it, and we went to the National Theatre in London and performed it, and lots of people just didn't know that I was English because I just spent so much time in it. I think at the time my girlfriend said I woke her up in the middle of the night speaking in an American accent because I'd just spent so long doing it. But I think it's a requirement now. It's almost like as an actor, you just have to have, because there's just so much work out of America that you just do it. And because we are exposed to so much American media, most English people sing in an American accent because that's what we hear. We hear American.
That's true. Media. Yeah, that's 100% true.
That's a very interesting point. I mean, I have an amazing British accent, so I just didn't know if it was crossed over. I mean, don't you just drop the T's a lot? Like, oi, bruv,
Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you. Nailed it.
Finn,
you know what? It's cool.
You are the Finn. Cringiest man on earth, Finn. Although I will say that I think the only, and this is just an aside, the only European singer I've ever heard that you can tell, like, okay, this person is from Ireland, is Dolores Riordan. From the Cranberries. She was always like, she was always like, oh yeah, she's very clear. She had such a unique voice. But I actually wanted to, I don't know why I thought of that just now. I love the Cranberries.
Let's just give a shout out to the Cranberries. My God,
I love the Cranberries are one of my favorite bands. But
in the UK, so I know we're getting distracted, but in the UK, they have this thing. We had this show called Top of the Pops that ran for years.
Oh yeah, I know Top of the Pops.
And they don't run it anymore really because streaming and everything just kind of made it so that it couldn't really happen. So now in the UK, we still have these old reruns of things of like Top of the Pops through the years. And one of them was just focusing on the Cranberries. And it was just the most amazing thing. And I liked their music, but I just didn't know much about them. And you're going, God, they produced some absolute bangers in the 90s. Like,
they absolutely did. Dreams and Linger are two of my favorite songs.
Rest in
God,
peace.
Yeah, I miss her.
Yeah.
Well, so I kind of want to tie it all together here to kind of close this out. I wanted to kind of loop back to something Ben had intimated at earlier, in regards to like the games of our past and like how we all got into this, like and really I've said this before, but I just want to reemphasize it. I truly believe that the things we love, like, it's only 50% that thing. It's only 50% that thing. The other 50% is the time when we found it, the time in our lives when we came across that thing. I needed Final Fantasy VI. At that moment in my life is when I needed something like that. And had I not been going through what I was at the time, it may not have stuck with me or resonated with me in the way that it did. And so I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting to think about the fact that, the things we love, like Final Fantasy for all of us, is really just a series of circumstances. Like the right thing came along at the right time. And I feel that same way about what we're doing here right now. We're doing all these great things that we love. Ben, you're doing something that you love. We're doing something that we love and have a great passion for, and it's all because of a set of circumstances. And I think we are all so lucky to have been kind of put on the path that we are now. And so, Ben, I just want to say, really from all of us, congratulations on landing this role. You clearly deserve it. And it's so nice to see, like, it's so nice to see. Not that it's so nice to see this not just happen to a good person, but to a person who has a deep and appreciative love for the actual franchise that you're now a part of. And going forward, you will always be associated with Final Fantasy, and I think that is just an incredible thing, and we could not be happier for you.
100%.
Thank you. It's a thing, and I think I really appreciate what you said about 6 saving your life. I think that I'm so keenly aware of people's relationships with games or films or music, but games in particular, finding them at the time that you need them, and them allowing you to. They don't just exist on the TV or in your hand or whatever. They exist so much more outside of that, because they help us kind of maybe comprehend what it is that we're going through at the time. They make us kind of more keenly understand how we're feeling about certain situations. And I think that this series in particular enabled me to have a clearer understanding of certain things. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say this now anyway, because we're all sharing. But a year ago, I lost my dad. He died. And it was during during the making of this game. And this game saved my life, because it was this moment where he passed incredibly suddenly. It was all hands on deck, and how did I get over that? That was going back to this game and working on it and taking on everything that I was feeling about it and placing it into Clive. And hopefully you when you experience it, you will see what that is and what that means to me. And I think that there's so much of myself in this character and everything that I was going through. And also, if anyone's listening who was working on it with me, thank you, because everyone was just incredible, absolutely incredible. Amazing. And supportive. But yeah, it saved mine. And I think that it's an amazing franchise that only over time will mean even more to me. And the fact that there has already been so much love from the community, the fact that you guys got in touch and were like, let's hang out and talk about Final Fantasy, even though you haven't even really heard me. I could be terrible in this game. I could be
doubt that.
Willing to bet otherwise.
I somehow doubt that. In fact, now that I'm playing this, I'm instead of like, that's I'm gonna be like, oh, hey, it's Ben.
I know,
like, hey, look, listen, it's Ben.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name.
I know that guy.
Rename it.
I'm gonna name him Starry 2.
I honestly, through the whole recording process, I kept saying to Koji, can we just rename one of the characters Starry, or just rename one of the enemies Starry, just as a little thing for me? And he went, no, Ben, that's very narcissistic of you.
Well, I got to tell you, Ben, thank you. That was an incredibly touching and personal story. I am so honored that you felt comfortable enough to share it with us. So thank you for that. Seriously. And thank you for this. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Square Enix for allowing this to happen. We were gonna rank the Final Fantasy games. We just didn't have time. But Ben, we would love for you to come back and not even talk about 16. Let's just rank the Final Fantasy games.
Come back. Let's do it.
Starting from 6 on down.
Yeah, 6 down.
We
6, 8, 9.
We could just
I was
let's play
guessing
6 at the top. It's all the Final Fantasy games that are worse than 6, and that's what it'll be. It'll be like 6 at the top.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Put a little spice on it. Yeah,
I'm stealing that. No, Ben, thank you again so much. If people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much the same I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I'm _Ben_star with 2 R's. That's who I am. So come and say hi. Everyone's been so welcoming so far. Yes, please do come and follow me. It'll be fun. Let's go on a journey together.
Excellent. Ben, thank you again.
Absolutely a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely. And hopefully it's not the last you'll see of Ben here on SDGC. I know it's not the last you'll see of us. So until then, take care of each other.
I've got bad news for you, John.
Am I being let go?
We wanted your last thing to be.
Am I being forced out? Am I being forced out of the podcast I started?
So
boy.
Ben's actually going to be replacing you. So
Yeah.
Oh
at
no,
least
that's
you got
fine.
that going
That's
for
fine.
you.
Ben
That's
is
fine
the
then.
new John.
Yeah.
That's
We'll,
fine.
we'll send you beanies. Don't worry.
You got to get beanies. You got to.
I was grooming myself to be your replacement, obviously, but I just think Ben's a better fit.
That's I
I feel
agree.
that too.
I
I
agree.
feel like you've been really dragging this podcast down, John. It's time for me to step up.
This is bigger for you than Final Fantasy 16 even. I mean,
this is the reason I got the part in the first place, is to come in. This is an elaborate.
Absolutely, to usurp me.
We're actually renaming SDGC to the Starry Deluxe Games cast.
Oh wow, that's good. Okay,
So-
Finn, finally you did a good one. No, he did a good
Solid.
one, Derek. That was good. That was good. I'm not
All right,
giving
everybody.
that one. Take care of each other. Remember, kindness costs nothing. We'll see you later.